You can run a 10K, you can have perfect labs, you can feel unstoppable, and still have a silent Widowmaker growing inside your chest. How is that possible? Because your heart doesn't reward fitness, it rewards survival. Your biology is so adaptive, so ruthlessly efficient, that it can compensate for a 90% arterial blockage without a single warning sign. It quietly reroutes blood flow. It buys time. It keeps everything normal until the exact second it can't. And that's the terrifying part. For nearly half of men, the first symptom of heart disease isn't chest pain. It isn't fatigue. It isn't shortness of breath. It's sudden death. In this video, I'm going to show you why the healthy heart fails, how your body expertly hides these ticking time bombs, and the only way to truly check your heart before it's too late. To understand how a powerful engine suddenly shuts down, we have to look beneath the surface, strip away the chest wall, and what you'll find is extraordinary. The heart is not just a pump. It's one of the most oxygen-hungry muscles in your entire body. It works non-stop, every second, every day of your life. To survive, it depends on a delicate network of blood vessels wrapped tightly around it. These are the coronary arteries. Early anatomists noticed that these vessels encircled the heart like a royal crown. That's where the word coronary comes from, but I want you to picture them differently. Think of the coronary arteries as the root system of a massive tree. If one major root is cut off, the branch it feeds doesn't struggle slowly. It dies almost instantly. There are two main trunks in this system, the right coronary artery and the left coronary artery. The left is the dominant one. It quickly branches into a large critical vessel called the left anterior descending artery, the LAD. In emergency rooms, we have a grim nickname for this artery, the Widowmaker, and the reason is brutally simple. It's geometry. The LAD supplies blood to the front and bottom of the left ventricle, the heart's main pumping chamber. Block a small side branch, and you lose a little function. Block the main trunk, and the entire system collapses. When this artery is obstructed, the heart can no longer pump blood effectively to the body. Within minutes, heart muscle begins to die. But here's the real question. How does a catastrophic blockage form in someone who works out every day? To answer that, we have to zoom in, not at the gym routine, but at the vessel wall itself. A healthy artery is smooth and flexible, like a brand new rubber garden hose. Its inner lining has a name, the tunica intima. In a perfect world, that inner lining is smooth, almost like Teflon. Blood cells glide across it effortlessly, without friction, without resistance. But life isn't perfect. Over years, even decades, high blood pressure, elevated blood sugar, smoking, chronic inflammation, they act like sandpaper on that delicate surface. Even constant mechanical stress, thousands of hours of elevated blood flow year after year, can create microscopic abrasions, tiny tears, invisible damage, and this is where everything changes, because your body sees those scratches as wounds. So it does what it always does. It tries to repair them. It sends LDL cholesterol to the scene, not as the villain, but as a patch, like spackle filling a crack in the wall. Then your immune system steps in. White blood cells arrive to inspect the repair. They engulf the LDL particles, trying to clean up the damage. But something dangerous happens. They overload. They transform into foam cells, bloated, inflamed, and eventually trapped inside the vessel wall. Over time, this growing mass hardens. Cholesterol, calcium, cellular debris, layer upon layer. That hardened structure is what we call plaque, and the process has a name, atherosclerosis. Now here's the deadly misconception. Most people imagine plaque like hair clogging a bathroom drain. They picture the arteries slowly narrowing, tighter and tighter, until one day it simply blocks off and the flow stops. 307, people assume they'll feel it coming. They expect warning signs, shortness of breath, chest pressure, fatigue as the artery slowly narrows. That sounds logical, but biologically, it's wrong. The human body is astonishingly adaptive. As plaque builds, the artery doesn't always narrow inward. Instead, it stretches outward to make room. The wall expands, preserving the internal opening so blood can continue flowing normally. This process is called positive remodeling, and it's the reason this disease is so deceptive. You can accumulate a massive plaque burden while the artery remains functionally wide open. Blood flow looks normal. Stress tests can look normal. You feel normal. You can run a 10K and feel incredible because the blood is still getting through. This is why, for nearly 50% of men and 64% of women, the very first symptom of heart disease isn't pain. It's sudden death. They feel completely fine until the exact second they don't. So what flips the switch? What transforms a silent plaque into a fatal event? It all comes down to stability. Picture that plaque not as a rock, but as a blister beneath the surface of the artery. It's soft, inflamed, filled with unstable material, and it's sealed off by a thin, fragile cap, like a delicate layer of skin. Now imagine a sudden surge in blood pressure, an intense burst of exertion, a spike of stress hormones. That thin cap can tear. And when it tears, you've just triggered what's called a plaque rupture. When that plaque ruptures, its contents spill directly into the bloodstream, and your body reacts instantly. It interprets this as a catastrophic injury, an open wound inside the vessel. So it deploys platelets to form a clot and stop the bleeding. That response is life-saving if you cut your finger. But inside a coronary artery, it's lethal. Within minutes, the clot expands. Layer upon layer of platelets stack up, forming a dense mass that completely seals off the vessel. It wasn't the slow growth of plaque that stopped the blood flow. It was the sudden explosion of clot formation on top of it, like a cork jammed tightly into a wine bottle. Flow goes from normal to zero. Blood flow slams into a wall. That's a type 1 myocardial infarction, the classic heart attack caused by plaque rupture and sudden clot formation. But there's another, quieter scenario, one that often strikes high performers, endurance athletes, people who push their limits. It's called a type 2 myocardial infarction. Picture a disciplined 50-year-old runner named Robert. Robert eats clean. His cholesterol is normal. He trains consistently. During a race, he doesn't feel crushing chest pain. There's no dramatic collapse. He just feels off. His energy suddenly drains. He feels lightheaded, slightly nauseous. He assumes it's dehydration. Maybe he pushed too hard. At the hospital, doctors detect a protein in Robert's blood called troponin. Think of troponin like the glowing liquid inside a glow stick. As long as the plastic casing stays intact, the liquid remains trapped. But snap the stick, and it spills out. Heart muscle cells are packed with troponin. When these cells die, they rupture and release it into the bloodstream. Robert is having a heart attack, but here's the catch. When they examine his arteries, there's no fully blocked pipe, just a 50% narrowing. So how can he have a heart attack while blood is still flowing? It comes down to a supply and demand problem. His heart's demand for oxygen suddenly exceeded the supply that even a partially blocked artery could provide. While sitting on the couch, a 50% blockage barely matters. The artery is narrowed, yes, but enough blood still flows to keep the heart alive, like a crimped hose still watering the garden. Now imagine Robert's heart racing to 170 beats per minute during a run. Suddenly, his heart demands a fire hose of blood, but the narrowed artery can only deliver a garden hose. The supply can't keep up with the demand. Heart muscle cells start to suffocate. This is ischemia, oxygen starvation at the cellular level. And in Robert's case, there's an added complication: atrial fibrillation, or AIB, which further reduces the heart's efficiency and makes the mismatch between supply and demand even more dangerous. Your heart runs on an electrical grid, orchestrating a perfectly timed squeeze with every beat. In AFIB, the top chambers of the heart stop contracting properly and instead quiver chaotically. This electrical chaos throws off the timing of the heartbeat. Now, combine a partial blockage with the rapid, irregular heartbeat of AFIB, and you've got a perfect storm. The heart is beating so fast that it doesn't have time to fill, while the arteries can't deliver enough oxygen to keep up. This is why cardiologists often reference the 70% threshold. Most people won't feel chest pain until an artery is roughly 70% blocked. Below that level, the heart compensates, rerouting blood, adjusting pressure, and masking the danger, which is why so many heart attacks strike without warning. Once the blockage exceeds 70%, you might start to notice warning signs. A tightness in the chest when climbing stairs that eases once you rest. Doctors call this stable angina, your body's own check engine light. But here's the shocking part. Most heart attacks happen in people with less than 50% blockage. Why? Because soft, unstable plaques are far more likely to rupture than the large, stable ones. So if you can't feel it, is there any hope? Yes. Your heart has a secret backup system called collateral circulation. Think of your main arteries like interstates. If a blockage develops slowly over years, the heart builds detours, side streets around the jammed artery. This is why a 70-year-old can survive a heart attack that would be fatal for a 40-year-old. The older heart had time to develop these alternate routes. In a younger person, a plaque rupture is sudden. The main highway shuts down. There's no bypass, no detour, no warning. One of the best ways to encourage these backup vessels to grow is through Zone 2 cardio and HIIT training. Exercise builds this collateral network, giving your heart precious extra seconds when it matters most. And in the ER, we have a saying, time is muscle. Every second counts when your heart is under attack. After about 20 minutes, irreversible damage begins. By 90 minutes, heart muscle starts turning into scar tissue that can't pump. To save as much muscle as possible, you have to recognize the symptoms early. For men, it's often the classic Hollywood heart attack: chest pressure, left arm pain, sweating. For women, it can be insidious: extreme fatigue, shortness of breath, or even intense acid reflux. And here's a red flag: a sudden, unexplained sense of doom should never be ignored. When the plumbing fails, cardiologists step in with a PCI, percutaneous coronary intervention, a procedure to open the blocked artery and restore blood flow before permanent damage sets in. They thread a catheter through your wrist, guide it to the blockage using contrast dye, and inflate a tiny balloon to compress the plaque. Then they place a stent, a metal scaffold that holds the artery open permanently. But intervention isn't the only strategy. To prevent disaster, we need early detection, finding the fire before the house burns down. Standard blood tests only measure the ingredients floating in your bloodstream. They don't tell you whether plaque is already sticking to your arteries. For that, you need better data: the CAC score, a quick 5-minute CT scan that measures hardened calcium in the coronary arteries. A score of 0, that's perfect. No calcified plaque, no warning signs, peace of mind. A CAC score over 400? That's a ticking time bomb. The next step is a CT angiogram. This scan reveals soft plaque, the invisible, unstable blisters that haven't hardened yet. It's the ultimate early warning system. The so-called healthy heart attack is almost always a tragedy of ignorance. Take control of your blood pressure to prevent mechanical stress and tearing of your arteries. Manage your blood sugar to reduce inflammation. And keep moving. Your heart thrives on activity. Don't guess if you're healthy. Use the technology available. Know your arteries. Protect your life. Hit that like button. It really helps. Don't forget to subscribe to master every part of your inner biology. It's time to take control and truly understand how your body works. I'll see you in the next one.